The air in that Geneva boardroom felt thick, almost electric, as Sophia Grant turned to me with her signature polished smile. Her blazer was pressed to perfection, every hair in place, and her voice carried that sweet, practiced lightness when she said, "Ryan, would you mind grabbing us some coffee while we get started with Mr. Mendoza?" It wasn't a request. The words hung there like a quiet command, delivered with the kind of effortless authority that comes from someone who believes they've already won the room. I sat across from Carlos Mendoza, the key supplier whose company held the gateway to our Latin American expansion. Months of my life had gone into this, late nights, translating clauses, building trust over video calls at odd hours, understanding the subtle cultural rhythms that could make or break a deal worth $75 million in projected pipeline value. Apex Global Strategies needed this partnership to push into new markets, and I had been the primary liaison from day one. Sophia, the ambitious new director of operations who joined just 4 months earlier, saw it differently. She wanted the spotlight. Her moves had been subtle at first, CCing herself on every vendor email as if claiming ownership, scheduling prep calls that somehow excluded me due to time zone conflicts. I noticed, of course, but I didn't push back loudly. In corporate America, especially at a high-stakes firm like ours headquartered in New York, you learn that reacting emotionally hands power to the other side. Instead, I observed, documented, and protected what mattered. As her words settled, I felt the slow burn of tension rise in my chest, not anger exactly, but a deep, calculated resolve. The room's heavy oak table gleamed under soft overhead lights, the distant hum of the city outside barely audible through soundproofed windows. Mr. Mendoza's expression flickered with confusion, his dark eyes shifting between us. He'd flown in from Mexico City expecting continuity, the rapport we'd nurtured over countless discussions about regulatory hurdles, currency risks, and mutual growth. I met his gaze steadily, ignoring Sophia for that critical beat. My voice stayed low, calm, switching seamlessly into fluent Spanish that Mr. Mendoza and I had used in private to build that irreplaceable trust. "Have they informed you about any liaison transfer?" The question landed softly but precisely, like the first crack in ice before it shatters. His eyebrows lifted slightly. Silence stretched for a heartbeat, then another. Sophia's smile froze, her perfectly manicured fingers tightening on her notepad. Mr. Mendoza stood without hesitation, his chair scraping back with quiet finality. In flawless English, he stated, "Cancel the deal. No elaboration. No drama." He gathered his documents methodically, avoiding eye contact with her entirely, and walked out. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving a vacuum of stunned quiet. Sophia's mask cracked right there, her confident posture deflating as color drained from her cheeks. I remained seated, sliding my printed contract copy across the table toward her. The yellow highlighter on Clause 7.4b glowed under the lights. Any unnotified transfer of primary liaison authority renders this agreement voidable at the supplier's sole discretion. No raised voice from me, just the cold weight of that single line. Inserted 2 years earlier after a vendor once tried similar maneuvering during a smaller rollout. The moment lingered, heavy with unspoken realization. Sophia reached for the page with trembling fingers, scanning it as the reality sank in. This wasn't just a negotiation hiccup, it was the unraveling of her calculated push to sideline me and claim the win. I felt the mix of vindication and quiet sadness wash over me, the kind that comes when you watch ambition blind someone to the system's safeguards. We sat in that heavy silence a while longer, the dramatic lighting casting sharp shadows across her face. Outside, Geneva's international bustle continued unaware, but inside, the power had shifted irrevocably. Sophia's attempt to edge me out publicly had backfired spectacularly, exposing the fragility of shortcuts in a world governed by meticulous protocols. Back in New York, 2 weeks later, the consequences rippled outward like cracks spreading across glass. Our Manhattan office buzzed with frantic energy, emails flying, emergency calls scheduled, faces tight with worry. The $75 million pipeline wasn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It represented jobs, investor confidence, and our aggressive push into Latin American growth markets. Sophia's override of my liaison designation without formal notification had triggered the clause perfectly, leaving legal scrambling for any workaround that didn't exist. I watched it unfold from my desk, the floor-to-ceiling windows offering views of the Hudson, but my focus remained internal. Legal's audit revealed the paper trail, unauthorized system changes to the negotiation logs, deleted email threads coordinating directly with Mendoza's team, calendar invites that conveniently omitted me. Sophia had been thorough in her ambition but careless with the details that mattered under scrutiny. The timestamps didn't lie, and the system logs confirmed her bypass without proper escalation to compliance. The financial hit landed hard, $9.3 million in immediate projected margins lost, plus at least 14 weeks of reinitiation delays that could stretch longer given strained supplier relations. Investor meetings loomed in 5 days, and the board expected updates on a deal she'd briefed as 90% locked.
Now,
it was dead, voided at the supplier's discretion, with no quick fix possible. I felt the emotional weight of it, the frustration of wasted effort, the ethical questions about how far personal ambition should override team protocols in corporate America. Sophia tried damage control that afternoon via Slack. Hey, quick chat? Misunderstanding on my end, off record if you want. The message sat unread. I let legal handle the response. Their memo crisp and damning. Primary liaison override activated clause 7.4b. Full documentation attached. No further direct contact advised. The executive team received it within hours. The attached evidence scans, logs, translated clause, leaving no room for spin. Tension built in the following days. Leadership meetings turned tense. Voices lowered as questions arose about accountability. Sophia appeared composed in hallways, but I caught the flicker of anxiety in her eyes during one passing glance. Her polished image, honed from an MBA and rapid promotions, now faced its first real test against hard evidence and legal realities. The slow dawn and built as whispers spread through departments, how a single misstep in protocol had jeopardized expansion goals. I reflected often during quiet evenings in my apartment, the city lights twinkling below. This wasn't personal vendetta, it was the natural outcome of respecting the process I'd helped shape. The clause existed for protection, born from a prior vendor incident where lack of notification nearly cost us millions. Sophia's moves, subtle exclusions, public diminishment like that coffee order had exposed deeper issues in office dynamics, the pressure young executives feel to assert dominance quickly, sometimes at the expense of foundational trust and compliance. As the week progressed toward the board emergency session, the energy shifted from panic to focused reckoning. Slides prepared by finance painted grim projections, legal briefs highlighted irrefutable breaches. Sophia's attempts to frame it as timing miscommunication faltered against documented facts. The bung no approached, inevitable and unforgiving. Monday's boardroom carried oppressive weight. The long table lined with serious faces under harsh fluorescent lights mixed with dramatic window glow from the New York skyline. Sophia sat poised initially, but the slides told the unvarnished story. Failed negotiation. Unnotified liaison override. Supplier withdrawal letter translated and timestamped. Her rehearsed explanation, a simple transition oversight, met skeptical silence. The chairman leaned forward, voice stern. Why, bypass legal notification before replacing the liaison. Silence stretched, amplifying every breath. Sophia's face paled further, mouth opening without sound. The evidence dominated. Clause 7.4b highlighted. Mendoza's formal cancellation. Internal audits exposing deletions and unauthorized edits. No one defended her. Allies averted eyes as the weight of multi-million losses and delayed funding rounds settled. Her dismissal from deal management came quietly, but finally, "You're off this project. HR will follow up on your role." The verdict echoed emotionally. Ambition's cost laid bare in a room where power plays met accountability. I sat silently. The quiet victor not through confrontation but preparation. Yet satisfaction mixed with reflection. Corporate ladders reward drive. But unchecked shortcuts erode the very structures enabling success. The announcement came end of month. Director of Global Operations, role transition pending. By quarter's close, Sophia had departed. No public spectacle. Just the system's quiet enforcement of protocols vital in real American business life, legal compliance, documented handoffs, respect for established roles. Weeks passed, the office returning to rhythm, but with lingering undercurrents. The reinitiation process dragged, relationships needing careful rebuilding. I carried on methodically, the clause's success affirming years of foresight. Internal culture conversations emerged informally, how ambition drives innovation yet risks isolation when it dismisses collaboration. Passing a junior colleague in the break room one afternoon brought closure's poignant note. He balanced coffees, mentioning an errand for the new lead. I handed him the updated liaison designation form gently. "Make sure protocols are followed." His nod showed dawning understanding of responsibilities weight beyond meetings and emails. In the end, Sophia's story lingers as cautionary. She pushed too aggressively, misjudging safeguards and trust's fragility. The deal's collapse. Her exit. These weren't triumphs but reminders. True power often lies in patience, documentation, and ethical foundations rather than flashy dominance. In America's competitive corporate world, where legal and psychological realities demand precision, Overreach extracts its price quietly yet completely. What stays with me is the moral question. When ambition clashes with process, does the drive for personal spotlight justify risking collective success? Her fall prompts reflection on balancing drive with humility, lessons echoing beyond any single boardroom. The coffee order, innocuous on surface, became the spark exposing deeper truths about human conflict in professional spheres.